the Goodwill down the street. And I thought it would be wonderful. Yes, yes. I thought it would be wonderful to pour libation for the ancestors.
Let's
So
go.
I just would hope that everybody could just think of someone that precedes us, whether it's an ancestor, someone taken too soon in our family or not, that we know or that we don't, and we'll just like hold them because we need it, and they need it. So yeah, I'm just gonna pour three, and you just like take some breaths or kick your feet, stomp your feet, do some whistling, do some cursing in your mind, some meta love and compassion to everyone who cares, whatever your ancestors need to feel just real held right now. So I'll just go one. Oof. Big one now. Let something go. Yeah. Can you hear me if I don't use the microphone?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's great news because I don't want it. I don't want to use it.
I think they're recording with it.
Yeah, whatever's good for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say it. I don't care. Can you still see me in the camera?
Yeah, you do.
Fantastic. Okay. This first one is called When I Feel Most Mine. And it's for the Patrice Lumumba writing group that was started during the pandemic. No, I don't know if it was started during the pandemic, but I started going to it during the pandemic. And there's an anthology of our writing. I believe Allie's in that one. It's a Patrice Lumumba from the Nomadic Press. It's the Patrice Lumumba anthology of writers on Black liberation on Nomadic Press. You should have it. And this is for the support that was given. And as I read it, as I continue to read this poem, not only does that support come flooding back to me, but the support of like friends I've met over time, like the support of people I've like met as strangers, like the support of like friends and family groups, whatever, like the support that we're all craving and that we all need to like keep our toes down on the ground. Okay, sometimes I think I'm my only person, that I feel most mine when I'm alone. I know now too, though, that like morels spread their roots to reach each other where no one else can. My folks remind me that I can be on my own, in a group, together too, especially now, right now, even though solitude and loneliness sit me slow on the daily. Holding a conversation these days is like waking up from a surgery, unable to string together coherent thoughts, but kind of fun at the same time. Gratitude abounds for having made it through another talk. As I continue to dig into myself, stick to my own rib like barnacles on a whale, I know my garden is there. Twice a week, these plants, gems of the soil, the three sisters, are helping me to fortify roots in my cup as my body's language tries to do the same. I hope they know the meaning of their support, the affirmation they provide each time. We hunt, we gather together, building together a healing out of thin air, dream determination out of memories of terror. We are a murder of crows, refusing the caricature they would have us grow out of ourselves, knowing, discerning, recognizing, shaping our tongues as weapons. We keep our building blocks solid together. When I think I am my only person, I try to hide. This wolf pack, though, it knows how to hold space for that too. How to help me keep my head above the bullshit. It's clear to me that there is work outside my body to do. Every time we meet, this vision becomes less cloudy. Even if only for 2 hours, myself, my entire being is a spell. We are a spell, fortifying this cup, heavy with the water our ancestors chose to make their final home. This water, spilling, holds still as the holes in our souls are filled. Honoring this collective cup is a choosing. Weekly, daily, like sobriety or self-discipline or joy or rest. A realization that there is selfishness in refusing to grow. A refusal to give roots their space before choosing to propagate. Our heads above water are never enough. Treading to survive is not enough, and we know that fuller in each other's space. Our ritual of full stroke, of confidence, a shedding of shame lest we project it onto others we love. Never love lost in these spells spoken here, only a collective gain. Our no audible and our yes full, lasting and sustainable, put out by no one, burnt out by nothing. We accept space to breathe each other in with intention, perspective sought and gained. We protect each other's energy. We pray for each other when we are away, fully present when we emerge, wings formed because we fought for them, hearts open to each other because we care. Each and every moment a blessing from here to our ancestors, knowing that we created this space together. Back. Okay, no, if I do it, I'm gonna mix the pages up, then I won't get it back. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, this is kind of a ranty poem, so just go with me. Please embrace and accept my full presence. Let's start with, come with me on a black journey. Let's start with genius, with resistance. Let's start with creating, talk about philosophy that defines discourse. Rich conversation, oral history. Let's talk about beauty, about wonder, about body, about protection and protecting. Let's talk about healing. About healing, let's talk about healing. About healing, let's talk about healing. Let's talk about how we've healed. How our elder women sometimes kept the kids and other times they kept the guns. Let's talk about cooking. About how Big Mom kept the checks until you learned how to build a house of your own. About farming or something else with your hands. Tearing and beating doesn't count. Let's talk about seasons, about serving face. Let's talk about the inability of black to crack. How breaking and cracking are not the same. How glitter comes from a breaking down, celebrates, accentuates a life that we were never supposed to live. The story you were never supposed to tell. Our smiles and our eyes glisten like that glitter. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about our eyes, about how we light up a room. This is about how, for generations, our kisses have cut straight to the heart and to everywhere else, because we inherit our grandmother's cheekbones, her sharp tongue too, those collarbones too, that wit, her sharp eyes, that mind too, stuck out her sharp neck too, every time, held her breath in prayer until you got home. Let's talk about how our grandmothers needed each other. Let's talk about how our grandfathers needed her too. Let's talk about her walk and that talk and that green thumb. Let's talk about those recipes. Let's talk about cooking, about her stash of everything, her remedies for everything. Let's talk about how she dresses everything up. Talk about some more, please. Let's talk about spirit, about being a conduit of the divine. Let's talk about truth. The women in our community have held everything in our universe so close. Mother Earth and her created a special bond with the sunshine. She is melanin. Isis, Henrietta, she is woman. The Great Spirit having a female experience. This is more than a role created for her. This is more than a role created for her ever could be. Let's talk about goddess. Let's talk about rose water, about Florida water. Let's talk about skin so soft. Let's talk about Halston. Let's talk about being able to rest. Let's talk about amber oils and anointing. Let's talk about foot baths and people feeding themselves. Let's talk about boundaries. Joy. Let's talk about stepping into power. Let's talk about taking responsibility for power. Let's talk about building power together and not merely together for fucking sake. Fucking is boring unless you are willing to go there so we can come here back to ourselves together. Let's talk about that, about anatomy and psychology. Let's understand both. Let's understand that weakness and strength. Strength you want to prescribe to me is not biology. Let's talk about help. Let's talk about listening. Let's name what I just said. No, don't explain it back to me with your spin on it. Let's talk about I said what I said. Let's talk about understanding betrayal of ourselves when we are silent for too long. Let's talk about listen here. Let's talk about I haven't finished. Let's talk about the womb, where we all started, about making our own decisions. Let's unravel here, ungo here. We are an unbraiding here, letting hair loose, tying it back up with respect for ourselves, ready to fight, centered with fortified cups. Let's talk about cementing, building houses again. Let's talk about making more than beds and meals. Let's talk about enjoying those too. I'm baking focaccia right now, and you can't tell me nothing. Also, my bed is made. What? Let's talk about hobbies, with tools, with interests that I have nothing to do with anything else. Interests for ourselves. Let's talk about alone time, giggling in the moon and the thunder. Let's talk about rainbows, shining through gaps in our teeth. Up there are bare toes. Let's talk about naked for no reason, no rush, for damn sure not to please you. Let's talk about calling our ancestors in elation and not in suffering. Let's talk about relationships built outside helpfulness. Let's talk about who the fuck are you talking to. Let's talk about keep that same energy when you find out it's me. Let's talk about... and not someone you mistook as someone who is not me. Let's talk about comfortability in this skin. Happy for your skin too. I fully support it. Our gifts are not in competition. There is enough gratitude and greatness to go around. Trust me. Let's talk about Juneteenth. Let's walk about freedom for women, self-determination. Let's talk about solidarity. Let's end this with resisting to the urge to add but or the need to sum this up. Let's end this where we started, trusting women as the creation of genius. Let's talk about communal understanding of these facts. Let's talk about Black women as the creator and embodiment of God.
Oh my God.
That was good.
That was good.
Okay.
Your shoe is still on my neck. Oh my God.
You got 3 minutes.
Amazing. Okay, this is untitled. It's something about a woman somewhere. Also, I've been sober for 8 months.
Congratulations.
Yeah. That's California sober. That means okay. Right. Okay. This is I was looking at a picture and it's of a woman and a man doing something. And I was like, because sometimes you just think like, what is she having to deal with? Like, even in the photographs, you could tell fucking frustration. Okay, here we go. Thanks for listening to me. I have a website. It's called sadbitch.solutions. It's like sadbitch.solutions, not like .com or anything. You can look that up. Yeah, I post things there occasionally. I am not sure what is happening in this picture, but the way my sanity needs to invert it is to have the elder woman in it be smoking, free of worry, not for herself or whoever this man is. Whatever is happening, whatever she has comes to terms with, she asks him to pass her the ashtray, to go and to fix her a stiff drink from his stash, to take the world onto his shoulders for a few. When he leaves, she closes and locks the door, isn't concerned about where he goes after he's stopped knocking. She pulls out her own stash and swigs and smokes and saves no one. She insists on not being saved herself. What for? Exhaling with a sad smile, but a smile nonetheless. She feels now like a bump in the record, like a skip in the beat, a held breath before remembering that the music is already on its way back. She sits now, staring out the window, gazing down at what happens in patterns and cycles, up at what only could be shed if she let it. Brick by brick, she counts, weighs all the things she still needs to let go of. When she starts turns the mental page over, she remembers the dubious nature of worry. Worry about good things to come is still a trap. So she swigs again, pulls again, and lets go whoever this man is in the back of the room. They both sit for a second, her back on the bed, him in the chair again, for my sanity. Back to the type of silence that only another cigarette can fill. They each worry about what to replace worry with. The sunshine in this window, maybe. The ashes don't make it outside, though. Even in place, switched for sanity, she thinks. Looks up, but not out at anyone anymore. She shrugs. We can worry more about not worrying tomorrow.